From translation, NIV New International Version, this 112th day of the year today we are reading passages 2 Kings 4-5 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 to 44. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant my husband is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a little oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him and afterward shut the door behind her and her sons. As she poured the oil, the jars were filled to the brim. She came and told the man of God, and he said, "Sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." One day Elisha went to Shunem. A prominent woman lived there, who urged him to come and have a meal whenever he passed by, so he stopped there often. She said to her husband, "I know that this man who often comes our way is a holy man of God. Let's make a small room on the roof and put in it a bed, a table, a chair and a lamp for him. Then he can stay whenever he comes to us." One day when he came there, he went up to the room and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, "Call this woman." So he called her and she stood before him. Elisha said to him, "Tell her, you have been most kind to us. Now something is to be done for you. What would you like? Shall I speak to the king or the commander of the army?" "No," she said, "I have a home among my own people." "What then can be done for her?" Elisha asked. Gehazi said, "Well, she has no son and her husband is old." Then Elisha said, "Call her." So he called her and she stood in the doorway. Elisha said, "About this time next year you will hold a son in your arms." But the woman became pregnant, and the next year about that time she gave birth to a son, just as Elisha had told her. The child grew, and one day he went out to his father, who was with the reapers. He said to his father, my head, my head." The father told the servant, "Carry him home to his mother." After the servant had lifted him up and carried him to his mother, the boy died on her lap. She went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, then shut the door and went out. She called her husband and said, "Please send me one of the servants and a donkey so I can go to the man of God quickly and return." "Why go to him today?" he asked. "It's not the new moon or the Sabbath." "That's all right," she said. She saddled the donkey and said to her servant, "Lead on, don't slow down for me unless I tell you." So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. When he saw her in the distance, the man of God said to his servant Gehazi, "Run now to meet her and ask, 'Are you all right? Is your husband all right? Is your child all right?'" "Everything is all right," she said. When she reached the man of God at the mountain, she took hold of his feet. Gehazi came over to push her away, but the man of God said, "Leave her alone. She is in bitter distress, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me." Then she said, "Did I ask you for a son, my lord? Did I not tell you, do not raise my hopes?" Elisha said to Gehazi, "Tuck your cloak into your belt, take my staff and run. If you meet anyone, do not greet them. If anyone greets you, do not answer. Lay my staff on the boy's face." But the child's mother said, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So Elisha got up and followed her. Gehazi went on ahead and laid the staff on the boy's face, but there was no sound or response. So Gehazi went back to meet Elisha and told him, "The boy has not woken up." When Elisha reached the house, there was the boy lying dead on his couch. Elisha went in, shut the door on the 2 of them and prayed to the Lord. Then he got on the bed and lay upon the boy, mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. As he stretched himself out on him, the boy's body grew warm. Elisha turned away and walked back and forth in the room and then got back on the bed. He stretched himself out on him once more, and this time the boy opened his eyes. Elisha summoned Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite woman." So he did. When she came, he said, "Take your son." She came in, fell at his feet and bowed to the ground. Then she took her son and went out. Elisha returned to Gilgal, and there was a famine in that region. While the company of the prophets was meeting with him, he said to his servant, "Put on the large pot and make some stew for these men." One of them went out into the fields to gather herbs and found a wild vine. He gathered some of its gourds and filled the fold of his cloak. When he returned, he cut them up into the stew, though no one knew what they were. The stew was poured out for the men, but as they began to eat it, they cried out, "O man of God, there is death in the pot," and they could not eat it. Elisha said, "Get some flour." He put it into the pot and said, "Serve it to the people to eat." And there was nothing harmful in the pot. A man came from Baal Shalisha, bringing the man of God 20 loaves of barley bread baked from the first ripe grain, along with some heads of new grain. "Give it to the people to eat," Elisha said. "How can I set this before 100 men?" his servant asked. Elisha answered, "Give it to the people to eat. For this is what the Lord says, they will eat and have some left over. Then he set it before them, and they ate and had some left over, according to the word of the Lord. 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 to 27. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master, and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now the Arameans had gone out in bands and had taken a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Naaman went to tell his master what the girl from Israel had said. "Go by all means," the king of Aram replied, "and I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter that he took to the king of Israel read, "With this letter I am sending my servant Naaman to you, so that you may cure him of his leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send a man to be cured of his leprosy? See how he is trying to pick a quarrel with me." When Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message, "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me that he may know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman went with his horses and chariots, and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, "Go, wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored and you will be cleansed." Naaman was furious and went away. "Are not the rivers of Damascus better than any of the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" So he turned and went off in a rage. "Are not the Abana and the Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" he said, and went away in a rage. Naaman's servants went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him. His flesh was restored and became clean like that of a little child. Then Naaman and all his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. Please accept a gift from your servant." The prophet replied, "As surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing." And even though Naaman urged him, he refused. "If you will not," said Naaman, "please let me be given as much earth as a pair of mules can carry, because your servant will never again make burnt offerings or sacrifices to other gods, but only to the Lord. May the Lord forgive your servant for this one thing. When my master enters the temple of Rimmon to bow down, and he leans on my arm, and I have to bow there also, when I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may the Lord forgive your servant for this." "Go in peace," Elisha said. After Naaman had traveled some distance, Gehazi, the servant of Elisha the man of God, said to himself, "My master has let this Aramean Naaman off lightly by not accepting from him what he brought. As surely as the Lord lives, I will run after him and get something from him." So Gehazi hurried after Naaman. When Naaman saw him running toward him, he got down from the chariot to meet him and asked, "Is everything all right?" "Everything is all right," Gehazi said. "My master sent me to say, 2 young men from the company of the prophets have just come to me from the hill country of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 sets of clothing." "Please take 2 talents," said Naaman. "Please give my servant 5 shekels of silver and 2 sets of clothing." Naaman urged him to accept them, and then tied up the silver in 2 bags with the 2 sets of clothing, and gave them to 2 of his servants, who carried them ahead of Gehazi. When Gehazi came to the hill, he took the things from the servants and put them away in the house. He sent the men away, and they left. Gehazi went back to stand before Elisha. Elisha asked Gehazi, "Where have you gone?" "Your servant didn't go anywhere," he said. But Elisha said to him, "Was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money, or to accept clothes, olive groves, vineyards, flocks, herds, or menservants and maidservants? Naaman's leprosy will cling to you and your descendants forever." Then Gehazi went from Elisha's presence, and was afflicted with leprosy, as white as snow.